All right, here's November 29th, Wednesday. I'm not sure if there was news or not. I thought there was supposed to be news on Thursday, but either way, whether there's news or not, I don't really care because this sort of proves that you you don't really need to play the news. You just need to play what's in front of you. There's a lot of opportunity all day, but you can notice that all week, going into last week, here on the 30 minutes, it's forming a consolidation pattern. Um, and it's pretty critical to look at this. Is keep your multi-day pivot handy because they give you a guide on the bigger picture. And we're not really looking at the 30-minute candles. On the multi-days, you want to be looking at um, how things are closing, with the 4-hour candles. And so you can notice right here, let's look at intraday. If you just play intraday, this was you don't see this very often, maybe once a month, once every other month, but it's what you considered a, a huge gap up or huge gap down, and you basically go right up into the mid pivot really quick within that first 30 minutes. And so it came up, they consolidated it, and then right at 9, they dropped it back below the mid-range pivot. And that right there, the moment you see that, you get in, you hold for dear life, because within basically 5, 10, 15, like 20 minutes, you had this 100-point move, and it happens really. It's really violent because it's a failed breakout reversal, and all those people long, this is either profit taking or they're trapping a lot of longs. So once that happens, if it breaks back down here, you're almost guaranteed to at least come back and fill the gap. I mean, it would not make any sense for something being this violent so early, for it to recover and come back up. If this came back down and maybe around and tag the bull pivot on the multi-day, it came down, held, it could have came back up and chopped around and then came back up, but the moment that it came back, it started making its way down pretty quickly. That's when you just hold. And here, ideally, I was looking for a pullback to retest this open, and we never got it. We got close, but they pushed it up, and then they failed it. And so right when that 10 o'clock candle opened, you had this I forgot what they call it, shooting stars, where it's the opposite way. But you see how this wick right here, they were selling it, and that was the last 5-minute candle. So that's really critical on determining a direction. So you got to push up, and you had this rejection candle. So the next one's red. This is when you want to sort of go short. You want to short it right here, and your target was going to be probably down here. But if you notice, this was a consolidation pattern for quite some time, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 minutes. So when they broke this out, anytime you have a breakout, if it ever comes back and goes below where it broke out, then it's going to get pretty nasty. And sure enough, if you see how this 5-minute candle, it broke and it held below here, and it pretty much guaranteed you can get in right here, somewhere near here, and just hold again. And what's your target? Fill in the gap. So we were playing all in the period of the morning. So this morning session is basically push, drop, and this is a measured move. This candle is almost as equivalent as this candle, and then one 30-minute consolidation, and then another drop. It has to have time to breathe. I mean, for it to drop and then drop again, it's really rare to see basically a 200-point move drop that quick, without some kind of like consolidation. So that would basically be your morning session, a true morning session from 8:30 open Central Time to 10:30, and you see that it filled up the gap perfect right at 10:30, and that's where I would expect a bounce up until the end of the rest of the morning period, which would be the 10:30 to 12. That's how I split the day up. In past videos, you can see, how that 12 o'clock and 12:30 is critical. So your morning session, you should have already been done. If not, and you won one last play, you could have got another 50 points by just going long right here, and then because this was sort of a failed breakdown, and then came right back up, and then your target would be near the pivot, and sure enough, it consolidated. Then what happened? 12 o'clock. 12 o'clock, you are below a pivot, so that would be, and not just that. If you look to the left, that was sort of a critical area. If you draw a line right here, you see how these 4-hour candles were closing right here. So same thing right over here. That's that. Look how funny that how the math works, and it's the same line as your bull pivot. So that right there has a lot going against it. You have a new period that's going to be opening at 12:30, and it's below this. So really, when this rejected like this, this tells me that it wants to go back down for the rest of the afternoon. You had VWAP above, you have this pivot. So I was aiming for this 4-hour candle to come all the way back down, and at least have it 50 points in the afternoon, which sure enough it did, but it took a while. You see how they were dropping it, going back up, dropping it, going back up, dropping, going back up, which is good, because these are like 30 point moves, but I actually got in right here, and I stepped away for an hour and a half, and luckily I did, because then if not, I would have been mentally exhausted in all this, versus I got in here and I put a sell target right here, and what did it do? It came all the way, and it took every bit of about 2 hours or an hour and a half to hit its target. Versus here, this actually only took an hour to hit its target, or this was only 30 minutes. So anyway, this gets really tricky, because you see how it basically did a double top, and then this was a failed breakdown, and then reversal. So, and you see how that period toward the end of the day, you see how this 30-minute candle was forming. This could have easily came all the way back up here for the rest of the afternoon. But what they ended up doing, they ended up dropping it back down. This right here is super bearish again. So if this came back down below, this is when you could short it right here, and your target would have been probably down here. But in reality, this was actually my line in the sand for the lows of the 1620. Why? If you look over here, this was your previous week's close. So that's why I have right here. Also, if you notice, from right here to right here, it was 185 points. It actually made that move. If you notice this morning, if you came to the high down to here, this was the 185 point. So the move actually was made from pivot to pivot. It on the math wise, on 185 points, it was just done differently. So you have to sort of keep that in mind, that there's if it goes past the pivot, there's a potential on that measured move that it's off a little bit, and so it does coincide with this this area down there. So that is the review for today. Like, this is a great example. Put this in your repertoire anytime you see a massive gap up and push. When I saw this morning and we were up here, the first thing that came to mind was, at some point in the day, I want to short it. If it ever comes back down below here, if it does, I'm targeting it down here. Most people, they get FOMO, and they're getting squeezed out, and they're looking to go long, and that's not the play you want to be looking for. and usually this happens about 9 or 9:30. So it happened at 9. If it was 9:30, then much likely we probably would have stopped probably right here and then came back up here, and then afternoon we could have worked our way down. But the fact that it happened at 9 and it came back below here, that's like super bearish, and hold on to your britches because you can actually make this full mid-range move. So anyways, good luck tomorrow. Just review this. This is a lot of technical analysis in this chart today, but at the end of the day, if you just got in near pivots and you sold, then you would have done extremely well today. And mainly it's just holding and not getting chopped up like in the middle like this. So, all right.